All right, folks, so we are back here at Historicon for our second stream game of the day. This is one I have personally been looking very, very forward to. Lead Pursuit Podcast's debut, I guess, public release of Merged, we would call it, right? So you can see Doug. I'm spinning this camera around here for you guys. Doug getting ready out there. And this is it. This is something that we've been talking about among the podcasts. Doug has kind of slapped some rules together. This is, I guess, what I would call sort of the starting point of what we're hoping can be our own jet combat game. Just as a little overview for some of you watching, what we are trying to come up with is a rule set that is between a beer and pretzels game and a super crunchy game like Check Your Six. So more complex than something like Blood Red Skies, but not something with a lot of bookkeeping and stuff like that. That's funny. I see in the chat down there. No, this is Merge being played in 1-200 with some F4s versus MiG-21s. We've got some new flight stands we're going to be trying out for altitude that also display height as well as a color band, which we're looking forward to trying out. And yeah, I think we're going to swing it over to Doug right now. He's doing his intros. It looks like we're getting ready to start. And let's send us over to Doug. Having some difficulties with Doug's lapel mic here. We're going to try and figure this out for you, but then we'll get him on here in 1 second.
Dice into the initiative bag, and whichever color comes out at each activation, that airplane will go. The regular situational awareness space game, there's a lot more to it with bidding how many dice, and deciding what aircraft you want to activate and what aircraft you want to move. Okay, so let me give you a quick orientation, and I will steal one of these cards. Give you a quick orientation to what you're going to see on your aircraft card. Okay. Speed tape. Like I said, this is probably the most important part of the game. And what does it do? It tracks you from areas where you're stalling, these crosshatched areas. Don't go to those speeds of 1, 2, or 3 if you're a Phantom. I think it's 1 or 2 if you're a MiG. Then your yellow band is your standard speeds that you're going to fly. We're all supersonic capable aircraft, so 11 is supersonic, and that's going to be red coded because you will turn like a 18-wheeler when you're out at that speed. So you'll see that up at the top. That's your supersonic band. You could go that fast if you wanted to. Green. This is the most important speed in this game. For us, it's a speed. For you all, it's actually 3 speeds. That's corner speed. Anyone know what corner speed is? Glare my other aerial war gamers. Corner speed. It's a concept in dogfighting in how we look at modern aircraft performance, where you're at the intersection of your fastest turn rate and your smallest turn radius. It's your best instantaneous, and keyword is instantaneous, aircraft performance. So for 20 years, put that in and say, there's a speed band where your airplane performs great on the table. When you get out of that, you may still perform well, but for us at speed 8 as an F4, there's some cool stuff we can do. For you guys in the MiGs, there's some cool things you can do in your corner band. But corner is also a big limitation because you bleed airspeed when you're in that corner band at that maximum performance. So what you find, and we'll talk about how we do that energy bleed, is you can bleed down to where you actually stall. You can max perform your aircraft and do some amazing things in this game and turn around and go to shoot somebody, and the next turn you're stalled. So as we walk through the turn performance part of this game, please give me honest feedback on, hey, that makes sense, or I still don't understand. What speed should I be at if I'm trying to chase this guy down or trying to turn to shoot them? But you'll see next to each of those numbers, there's kind of a bracket. There's an X. Once again, means don't go there. But there's like a number 2 for some of our lower speeds, 3, 5. That is your turn mode. Now, if you're an old Starfleet Battles player, you'll know what turn mode is. It's the number of hexes you must go before you can make a turn. So for us on the Phantom, this is fairly straightforward. If I took my little black token and it was sitting there on 6, my turn mode is 2. So what does that mean? It means I have to travel 2 hexes before I can make a turn. So I'll travel 2 hexes, could turn, 2 more hexes, turn, 2 more hexes, turn. Turns aren't free. We'll come back to what they do to you here in a second. But that would be you basically max performing your aircraft. Aircraft nerd note. What are all these built off of? The performance of that aircraft and this aircraft at like 6 Gs. So in this game, when you're doing what seems like a gentle turn of 2 hexes forward and making these turns, you're not max performing. You are performing that aircraft in a high performance regime, 6G turn around the board. But what it's doing is that's the fastest you can turn at that speed. That's the quickest turn rate you can get. You can always move less. Your turn mode is 2. You can go 4 and then make a single turn. Turn modes don't go across turns. So sorry if you're flying speed 7. You basically would, once again, you could fly forward 2, 2, 2, and then you take 1. And the next turn, guess what? Yeah, you got to move 2 again. So we don't go across turns because, once again, there are games that have had that mechanic. Not difficult, but it's just one more thing to track moving across turns. So the numbers right above, you see 3 numbers and 3 arrows right above your speed tape. This is probably the second most important part of this. There's a green arrow. Green, go forward. Green is your thrust value. Red is your drag value. And think of that as your speed brake or just your ability to slow the airplane down. If you pulled that throttle to idle and you're letting the aircraft decelerate with whatever system it has, speed brakes, spoilers, whatever, that's what your drag number is. So that's you bleeding speed off in this game without turning is very difficult. It is difficult to slow down if you are going in a straight line. Real easy to slow down if you do a 6G turn. So that should make sense. And the last number is corner. Once again, corner is a special maneuver. When you do corner maneuvers, you have to be in that green band. Now, I'll come back to describing a corner turn here in a second once I just go through a couple of the of the turn moves here. But if you think about it, each turn, like we on the F4, we get one corner turn. Migs, what's the number underneath yours?
3.
Yeah, you get 3 corner turns in an activation. So what that really means is you can bleed an amazing amount of speed off your aircraft. Let me warn you again in foot stomp. You can bleed an amazing amount of speed off your aircraft. It is easy as a MiG to end up stalled because that delta wing, they can bleed a lot of airspeed in a high G turn. So what does a corner maneuver do for you? It allows you to tighten your turn radius. Because once again, we're simulating, hey, I'm putting a max G pull on this aircraft at just the right airspeed, the right amount of altitude and thrust and everything to make this high performance turn. So as a Phantom, you know, I would be there, I don't know, speed 8. So normally I would fly forward and I would turn after 2. Well, one of those turns could be the only turn I do. It could be after a series of turns. One of them, I can make 1 turn mode less. So if you think about it, corner allows you to turn at 1 less. So for us, it would be turning at a turn mode 1 once in there. So I would go forward. I might do another 2. So now I've moved 4. Might do my corner turn, basically to go 1 and turn again. And then from there on, I would have to do regular maneuvers to really make another 3 out there to your final speed. A couple different ways we've done this in the game. And once again, we're all probably war gamers. I don't know what each of our backgrounds are for games. We did do a speed token pool just to help new gamers. So where you would start with and say, okay, I've got here's my 8 speed tokens. I'm going to expend them around my maneuver. So someone wouldn't get lost in the middle of, okay, I'm making these facing maneuvers that don't cost me speed, but now I am flying around at speed 7, speed 8, whatever. So we're just going to do the numbers in our head and go through it that way. All right, so like I said, speed costs. So you go, that's really cool. At F4 turned inside his own butthole. How does an F4 do that? Not very well. What I haven't explained to you is every time you turn, you take a drag point. So a drag point directly corresponds to speed. So if you think, okay, I go through there, I did 4 turns, that's 4 drag that I took. Now, we'll talk about how you add thrust to counter that, but that is going to, at a minimum, drop you 4 speed. So I went from 8, the next turn, I would beat speed 4 if I didn't do anything with the throttles. Once again, assuming F4 can make that very rapid turn, he's now cut his speed in half. He's bled so much energy that he's not going to be very effective the next turn when he moves 4 and can only turn twice. He's not going to scare anyone. So how do you counteract that? The green number of thrust. At the beginning of the turn, you commit to how much thrust you want to use. And so for an F4, I probably will be full thrust, putting 3 out there. Because if I had done that turn, I would have 3 thrust, 4 drag. I still would have lost 1 speed. And the one I didn't tell you, sorry, corner maneuver costs an extra speed. So that's where the MiG really comes into a problem is when you do a turn with a MiG, each one of those, that's 3 corner maneuvers, that's 6 drag. You just crushed your speed dramatically there. Okay, we'll walk through that in the conduct of the game to make sure people understand that. And we'll walk through a couple maneuvers of moving the aircraft. Questions on turning maneuvers before I get to something slightly more complex with turns?
Not showing on the F4s, it does show on the MiG-21s.
Oh, the minus? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
3 minus.
So we're going to leave that out for right now. So that's me being anal retentive and trying to be accurate. That there's a point on that chart where the MiG doesn't fit between my numbers 2 and my number 3. So in the advanced game, what that means is you take 1 less move. But we're just going to leave it as a 3 in the basic game because if we win or lose based off of that, then the game system as a whole has a problem. All right. Other questions on turning, and obviously we'll learn it as we walk through and both move our aircraft.
Turning specifically, maybe you'll get.
Yeah.
But you actually pick up speed.
Okay, so if you want to accelerate, you're going to, obviously at the beginning of your turn, if you look at the sequence of play, you're going to at one point commit to your thrust or drag. So I would, let's say that was that first turn. I come back out of that at speed 4. And so now I need to get back up to something closer to fighting speed. So I'm going to commit all 3 of my thrust. And now the trick is, if I don't turn, if I don't accrue any drag the next turn, or at the end of the turn, I move up to 7 speed. So I'll start the following turn at 7. And then I can either, once again, if I choose to keep going straight and getting out of the fight, extending, unloading, whatever terms you want to use, then I can keep gaining speed. Works great when you're a Phantom or a MiG. When you're the poor A4s in there, it takes a while to get speed back up if you've bled it, just because of how your airspeed is. Okay. Optional for today, and I'm going to say this. If we want to play with altitude, we can. We've chosen to do it with altitude pucks. I always say the first game is great to play without altitude. Just play with it, everybody level, same altitude, turning, seeing how the dogfighting rules go, see how shooting goes. But what we do have is we have, for basically 6 different altitude bands, you're either basically nap of the earth flying with no puck underneath it. You're in the low altitude band, and then they all stack up. You just basically would add a different color for each 10,000 foot band you're in. And then if you're up in the nosebleed section, high 30s, you're all the way up there. But for us, it's a way for easily color code and see on the board who's in what altitude. Guns, obviously, you can't shoot across altitudes. Dogfight missiles, you can't shoot across altitudes, and we're not going to play with radar missiles. But I recommend when we do just the first couple turns of a game, let's do it without altitude just to get people used to maneuvering the aircraft. And then we can add altitude in. Because you're going to say, how do we do altitude? And I'll tell you about climbing and diving and all that later. Okay. So, shooting, the part that Edgar really cares about. How do you shoot? If you look at your order of play, and there should be hopefully enough for everybody. Okay, good. Talk about drawing initiative dice. Talk about you allocate thrust, or if you're trying to slow down, you could allocate a drag. If you're stalled, then you go into stall flight. So nobody stall. So I don't want to have to break those rules out. Nobody stall today. Then you get an action. That action can be pre-move, post-move, and certain kind of actions can be taken mid-move. For the purpose of the basic game, only one action can be taken mid-move, and that's shooting the gun. So you can shoot at the beginning or end of an activation, and that's what we would call a tracking shot. That's a well-aimed shot because you've arrived at the right point to shoot that guy. And you can shoot from behind, head to head, side aspect, whatever you want to shoot. But if you shoot mid-move, it's what we call a snapshot. You're going to use less ammunition. You're going to move your yellow token 1 ammunition spot. You'll see that over there with your cannon on the right side. If you're shooting while moving, it's only 1. If you are shooting at the beginning and end, it would be 2 because you are behind that guy or you're coming head to head and you're taking a well-disciplined shot. Okay. Shooting scale. I know everyone's played games that are much smaller scale, this much closer. 2 hexes is your maximum shooting range. There's a reason. This is modern dogfighting with missiles. So M61A1 cannons only go to a max effective range of 2 hexes. That is going to cause us to end up in some situations when we're close if we're trying to take that tracking shot at the end of a turn and shoot somebody. But what I recommend is you don't do that. You take what we would call a high aspect snapshot. You cross somebody's flight path. You take that shot that you get mid-move, use only 1 ammunition, but at least you're not expending all of this time and effort to get in a perfect 6 o'clock shooting solution, which generally doesn't happen in jet combat anyway. So let's come back to the historical part of it. Let's take those low probability of kill but high repetition kind of shots. Okay. Missiles work the exact same way, except you just can't shoot mid-move. You have to shoot a dogfight missile the beginning or end of the phase. So you either start with that shot or you end with that shot. How do they work? Well, the first thing is the only tokens I put on for anyone are for IR missiles, but it doesn't matter. You could shoot an AIM-7 in what we call a dogfight mode. This is not with a radar lock. This is not any of those things that we think about from Top Gun. This is what they did in Vietnam and in Arab-Israeli wars, where they used what they called a bore sight flood mode, where you radar shot out the front of the airplane and you put that gun sight on the aircraft and you were shooting a radar-guided missile at that point. So once again, guess what the arc for that is? Directly straight off the front. So once again, it has to be at the beginning of the end. So you're going to have to really fly to a good position to do one of those shots. But that is straight out the front end of the hexes. Now, I did not print the missile cards because I was going to super generalize that for us today. We're just going to remember one set of numbers. Your minimum range for missiles is 3. Your maximum range is 9. Doesn't matter if you're Russian missiles or U.S. missiles. We're just going to generalize that to keep it fairly balanced. But if you end up, and toss me a MiG here, since they're infrared missiles, you always have to shoot into someone's rear hex side. But in this case, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would be in missile range. You're directly in bore sight. If you're there, you're not. You're not shooting him with a missile, even though his rear hex side is here. If you look at your card where you see it has the D, that is your only hex side for shooting those missiles. I realize this is not Top Gun. This goes back to another historical moment. The seeker head field of view of Vietnam and Arab-Israeli war weapons was tiny, tiny. You were shooting through a soda straw. So a lot of people don't appreciate that. That's why it took so long to get a lock, to get a shot, or to even have a successful shot, is because your infrared missile was looking for that small little piece. So you have to end up directly behind the guy. But what I expect we'll see today is a lot of this. People taking gunshots at range 2, ending up maybe even head-to-head. Yes, you get to shoot back if you shoot head-to-head. But I expect we'll take a lot more gunshots than missile shots today. What's the minimum range of our missiles today? 3. Maximum range?
9.
Got it. See? We can... Exactly. So I made it today to perfectly overlap that way for your minimum ranges. All right. There are more advanced maneuvers. I'm not going to talk about any of them until I get to a learning point in the game where I say, okay, you're going to look at this and go, I can't shoot this guy. And I'm going to say, now I'm going to teach you what a high yo-yo is, or I'm going to teach you what a low yo-yo is. Or here's where you would do an Immelman. We're not playing without you, but here's where you do an Immelman and you would change, your facing. We'll talk through those because, quite honestly, in a lot of aerial war games, we spend so much time talking through every little maneuver like it's performed at an air show. It really isn't. It really is a situationally dependent thing. You look and you go, that's where I'm going to go try to use a yo-yo to put myself in a gun position. You'll notice there are diagrams. I apologize if they're not intuitive to you. They were intuitive to me. If you have a better way of representing these later on when we talk about them, those are the maneuvers down there. I will make a distinction that yo-yos are a kind of turn. So you do those in a normal turn. When you go to your vertical maneuvers or to the unload extend, those are what we call a maneuver, and that takes your entire move. So those are the kind of things you say, I'm not gonna do any combination of turning or whatever. I need to reverse, go the other direction. So I'm going to do a vertical maneuver, pick the heading I'm on, and it takes your entire turn. Because the nerd data behind this is 15 seconds for every turn, 1,500 feet per hex, and every speed is 60 knots. So there's your nerd scale. That is fungible, I'll say. It will tweak a little bit in there, but that's
very easy
math. It is absolutely so that's the first thing. And so I apologize with the easy math because being an aviator, we divide everything by 60 knot speeds. And so I cannot think A in miles per hour, nor in anything that's not divisible by 60. So, so that's how we're going to end up. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to take one of these here. Let me throw a MiG back. We have one extra MiG, right? Let me take whichever MiG we don't need, and I'll take it off here. And then I will take another F4. So let me take that extra one out of the way. And I'll use this one to track.
Yeah, I was gonna say it needs you need a little yanking back.
All right. So, like I said, initiative. Each of you has a colored die or 2 colored dice. Give me one of them. All right.
That's why the other.
Trust me, this is supposed to be a Marine Corps proof game. There's Marines here in the place. I need a colored die to know which one I am. There was actually a comment at one point. Someone said, "Are you going to use dice to track stuff on the base?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm the guy that if there's like 7 dice on the base, I'm like, what was that one for? Is that my altitude? Is that my damage? I'm lost here." So yeah, we're gonna only for now have 1 die. All right. So if everyone gets an aircraft on the back end of their hexes, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to cheat, and go ahead.
Black one? Black cubes for the 3 of us.
Oops, you do. There's one.
I cheated you guys.
Yeah, he is flying here. Oh,
Yeah, I've got mine. He just needs one over here. One. What'd you get? Okay. So go ahead and pick a speed. You all can be at whatever speed you want coming into the game.
Right. Coming in together.
And I'm gonna fly in at speed 8 because I want to be at corner. You guys can pick whatever you want. I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna pull my die first just to show you how these maneuvers work. So yeah, exactly. Cheating already. All right. Yes. Can't trust these guys. Okay. So speed 8. We go over to our cards. First thing I've got to do is I've got to decide about my thrust. Well, if I'm not going to turn, do I need to use a lot of thrust here? Probably not. Okay, so you would think if I just want to move speed 8 directly at you, I wouldn't even put any thrust out. What I'm going to do here, just what may be counterintuitive, is I'm going to put 2 thrust out. I still don't go to speed 10 yet. I go to speed 10 at the end of the turn. So there's a little bit of lag here. So I would say, okay, I'm going to put 2 thrusts down, and then my move is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 thrust moves me up speed 10 for the next turn, and I'm done. And it is that easy to do the basic maneuver. We're all probably going to run at each other for a moment here, and then I will cheat again, and I will go first, and I will show you all how to turn. So the rest of next activation, yellow. Yeah. Okay. And that would then give you 1 drag. Yep. So then that would give you a speed increase of 1 at the end of the turn. Okay, cool.
But we don't do it at the end of the turn. So
Oh, you go ahead at the end of your activations. Go ahead and move. You can always add that speed at that point. Pink. No. They lied to me and they said they're like 12 different colors. And I'm like, there's like 3 greens that are all the same shade.
Like, I'm gonna form a side slip, if you will, and turn up.
So that was the first question I was asking. They're like, can I side slip? I'm like, why is that everyone's favorite maneuver, X-Wing players?
Well, it's all of these. It's
All right, so how much thrust did you do for? Okay, and then 1 drag. Yep, so it keeps you the same speed. Okay. Orange. Okay.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so you take a drag. Yep. So speed up 1. Yep. Going to make you guys fly 4s where you have no thrust. Red.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so 2. Yep, 2 drag. Runs your speed up by 1. And hey, it's purple. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. Now Doug cheats again. So I'm going to go through turning here just so you guys can see how I'm going to, as much as I can, at speed 10, because I am a phantom hauling the chili nearly supersonic, my turn mode is now 3. But let's be honest, look how far away you guys are. I could turn the size of Idaho and still at least get to some point here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do quick math in public. That's 3, 1. I'm going to do thrust 1. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, turn. So that's going to give me 1 drag. 1, 2, 3. Take another drag for my turn. And then I end up with 1, 2, 3. I would turn and go for a 4th. And so that ends up with 3 drag, as I did that goofy little S turn, 1 thrust, so it's -2, drops me to 8. I got lucky. I'm not that smart. Okay, now I show that to you for a couple reasons. I hate pre-plotted movement. I really hate it. It's one of my pet peeves. But there is something to be said for having to plan ahead and thinking that next 15 seconds ahead in combat aviation. That happens. But none of that was pre-plotted. That was, okay, how close do I end up passing to this MiG that I just suddenly turned next to? If I had screwed that up, I might have gone 3 hexes this way, or I might have gone 4 hexes and directly crossed in front of you. There's a point to change that based on what really I see on the battlefield. And if guys have gone out of turn, I got to be able to change it a little bit. Okay, orange. Yeah.
Paying attention to
Yeah, exactly. He's like, damn it, why didn't you teach me that vertical maneuver? Okay. Purple. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Drag,
Yep.
2 thrust,
Yep.
both 1.
Drops down 9. Yep.
Okay. What's it? 10 or 9?
His speed was 10. Oh, there would have been, yeah, so it would have been 1 more. Yep. Red. I will address it before we get to this one here. You can fly through other people, just don't end in their hex. You can say, what are your mid-air rules? I don't know. We haven't got to that point. Remember that pre-alpha stuff?
But it's also, people wouldn't know how to fly past
That's
each other
exactly.
without-
So I tell people, in training, I've had a lot of close passes. I'm sure had I gone to aerial combat, I would have had close passes. But the point is, nobody is really, unless you're like the Russian World War II pilot, really trying to run into something else. And that is for a specific tactic with a propeller, trying to chop the rudder off of a Ju-88. That is not just running into another airplane. Okay. What'd you end up with for your speed? Or did you? Okay, so you ended up average. Pink.
good one, but you much better. And it in fact counts correct.
Just using that missile threat voodoo or something on us? Okay, so activations. I mean, your actions.
So now I can try to do a missile block.
Okay, absolutely. So the nice thing is, basically, you're going to roll a d10 at this point. We're going to treat everyone as if they're pilot skill 3. Aim 9. You guys have deltas, I believe. So it's a +1 missile. So it's going to give you a value of 4. You have to roll a 4 or less on a d10.
No.
Okay, take one of those blue dots off and whoosh, that one went off into the other side of Syria. Okay, first missile downrange. Hopefully, missile was fairly intuitive to getting to that spot. Okay, all right. And then that leaves us with yellow. Ah, yes, the corner maneuvers. All right. So, and here's the opportunity. Who are you trying to get to a position to shoot on, or because your corner maneuvers make you amazingly tight turning. So,
Not necessarily trying to get to anybody, but I'm going to try to just kind of stand around.
okay. So here's the thing to remember with corner. Remember, they're each going to cost two drag when you're doing that. So if you do all three, that's automatically 6. You throw another 3 in there. So you could do a full up set of corner maneuvers and you're still losing 3 airspeed. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And then you'll do them as any other move. Just realize when you do your turns, 3 of those turns, that's actually a 1, I believe, right? Yeah, it's a 1. It'll be, you'll move forward 1 hex, turn, super tight radius.
So if I do this one,
Yep. Yes.
2, 3,
Yep. And that would just be a single one if you do that. Yep.
I move. Yeah, I move. I move 3, 4, 5. Yep. 4, 5.
Yep. Yep. Now, here's exactly the moment. Were you a Western pilot coming around the corner like that, you're realizing I'm going to overshoot this guy. I am not in the position where I want to be. And actually, to be honest, the Russians taught the Syrians the same maneuver. But what you would do here, what you could do here, one of the maneuvers I didn't show you, is you could do what's called a yo-yo. And if you're not familiar with what a yo-yo maneuver is in aerial combat, it's a way to trade either downrange travel or lateral displacement to go up or down to eat some of that up so that you don't overshoot somebody. Now, what I'll say is, from where you were, I'm just going to throw another MiG out here. All right, so we ended up, I believe they were right there. All right, now, whew. So this is where it gets slightly counterintuitive because you're hex-based. And this is frustrating. But it's the constraints that I put the game in and I said, damn it, I'm gonna do it this way. So if I don't want to end up in this situation where I'm stuck behind somebody in lag, in this case, probably a high yo-yo is the best maneuver. And if you look on the yo-yo turn examples, basically what I'm doing is I'm going to slide outboard 1, and then that would have allowed you to move, turn, move. You could preserve a little downrange travel. The other way was if you do the interior one, this is where you would have not been able to do it because you would have turned in here and then you couldn't end in his hex. But that's how a low yo-yo would work, to kind of cut to the inside of that. So you're kind of at that not optimum spot. There's not an easy maneuver for you. But if you didn't want to have that in-close overshoot, you could do a high yo-yo and it puts you out here. Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
there's the one way of yo-yoing is essentially
An interior.
called high.
Correct.
Must slip is a very particular direction.
You have to slip interior when you do. That is only the low yo-yo that allows you to do that. And that's a side slip interior. Yep. Yep.
So how do you find the side?
So this the direction of your last turn.
Right.
Yeah, so that's, and so you're gonna laugh. We used to have a left, right, center on here that you would leave a token on. We got rid of it, but it gets down to this argument that I know where you're going with this. I tend to like having a side slip mechanic for generalization because now I don't have to track the inside of a turn. So I think it's a good point that, maybe allow the low yo-yo to, you can side slip to the outside of the turn, side slip to the inside of the turn. It really doesn't matter. You're functionally doing the same thing. But continue. Sorry.
So picture, right? So the inside is outside. What you do only direction, like a double.
Yes, it is. It is a double turn. And that's because what it does is you take a pivot away, you go, and then if you get it right here, it's a double pivot back. So actually that would have worked well here. Yeah, that's what I was. Of course, now that where we were. Yes, you were range 3. So the high yo-yo would have worked very well there because
more drag.
yes. So that's the other problem. Is the high yo-yo takes 2 more drag. So that would have been really great for getting you around. You could have taken a shot as your end of activation, but the next turn now you're even 1 less. You're now at speed 3. So that phantom is going to just run away from you. Trust me, I know the yo-yos are the one of the most confusing pieces of it right now. And this is where I really would like to have people's feedback: is what is useful to generalize and what is useful to have specifically. So as we play through a couple of rounds of this, let's think about those and say,
Next side turn also comes to a speed.
does not cost you a speed, cost you a drag. So
I was looking at this high yo-yo.
it actually is 1 free turn. That gives you, because you've turned 3.
Moving 6.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's the last location.
Yeah, the last.
4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, no. Which one are you looking at?
Oh yeah, that's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I think. Hold on, let me check something.
That's right. This one.
No, I know. This is where I always laugh. This is like, okay,
This one here is your high yo-yo, right?
yes, that would be the high yo-yo.
So what is occurring is you're yo-yoing up in altitude to feed off some of that distance, correct?
Correct, and I think you're losing a speed in there, but I got to come back and check.
Some of that extra hexworth of movement is technically doing that, feeding it off forward momentum and flow in the vertical instead of the horizontal.
Well, which is the purpose, yeah, the purpose of the yo-yo, the actual, yeah. And I'm pretty sure, and I got to go back and check here in 30 seconds, because we've only changed yo-yo maneuvering like 10 times.
This morning,
Actually, thankfully not this morning, but it was so funny because going through it with the previous playtest was colorful, I think would be the way I would describe it. Yeah. So, and here's the reality. It costs, a high yo-yo costs 1 drag and 2 movements. So that's where that extra movement is. You burn a second movement. So, yeah, go right ahead.
In that case, I would not have even been able to do it
Right.
because I did not have the one extra.
Extra movement. Exactly. At that point, you needed that extra movement just to get there. So, yeah, it was your last maneuver. Yep.
Yeah.
Egyptian. Yep. Or UAR, if we remember those days.
oh yeah,
Whenever anyone goes, hey, why are you doing Syria with the Egyptian? I'm like, hey, UAR, baby, come on. We're all one team, one fight here. Didn't change our roundels. You know, just it's also because I'm too lazy to paint 2 different air forces. Yeah, exactly. All right. Questions on that? Did anyone, we took our 1 shot that we had, everyone moved? Correct? Okay. Now I'm up for grabs like everybody, I think. All right. Hold on. Make sure. Yep. Okay.
Just so I don't. Low yo-yo does not cost extra.
Correct. It is not. It only
But high yo-yo.
high yo-yo does cost. Yep. All right. So no more Doug cheating and starting first. It is now yellow. Like, I'd like some energy back, please. Thank you very much. Purple. Yeah.
Got to tell you
Go
a
ahead.
story. Many years ago, I was staying. Was just we were just renting a place in the kibbutz south of Jerusalem.
Oh yeah.
So I get up in the morning, have my brother, we'd have coffee, so something to eat. If I go for a walk down this one, this is before the intifada.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm walking down the road, and all of a sudden, here propped up is a wing off of a Big 15 propped up along the road. I'm going, oh, okay, that one didn't make it back.
Yeah, exactly. Because we didn't return that one. Not going to the museum either. All right. Oh, look, it's blue. Shit. I didn't want to have to make a decision. Okay. Crap. All right. I'm going to see here. So I am right at corner. I'm going to 3 thrust. You think I would be super aggressive, and I'm already thinking that, no, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, I know what I would.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know exactly what I do. I'm gonna let my wingman solve that problem for me. So my first turn, 1, 2, 3, 4. Five. I'm gonna take a corner maneuver there. 6, 7, 8. Close as I can get. It's 4, 3, 1 down. Drops me to 7. Not the best geometry, but that's all right. I was actually going to try to take a snapshot at you, but I'm not close enough.
This for gun shooting.
Gun shooting is, yeah, straight ahead 2 hexes. Dogfight is 3 to 9.
What's the yellow?
That's for radar. That's for when you're taking radar locks, and we're not gonna fool with that. Orange. It is you, Edgar. Hi, how you doing? Yep, 2 and 2. So you just stay the same speed. All right. Pink. Ish. Run him down. Yep.
Okay, so gunshots.
All right. So once again, same principle, except you don't have a +1. So it's just 3, just for your pilot skill.
Yep.
No advanced sights or anything.
That is not it. Is it a 0? 0 is not the 3. Okay.
Let's say if it would have been a 10 for 0. All right, and did you move it off 2 because it was an end of turn? Okay, yeah. So shots at the end, beginning or end, or a tracking shot for 2 ammunition. Okay, so I'm going to bring up another point here. We haven't talked about it at all, but there is an action for being defensive. So if you ended up in a situation like you last turn, or yours where you think, okay, he's probably going to come take a good shot at me, but I have no action to take. I don't have a shot to take or whatever. I can declare myself defensive. Now I was hoping he wouldn't get the 30% hit there on you. But what that does is the action of saying I'm engaged defensive makes a die threshold shift for him. And so it's now going to be a D12 he rolls. And so now the odds are going to get harder. Now, I'm going to say this before anybody does the math in public. That affects higher pilot skill people more. That's a little counterintuitive. We're used to modifiers. If like Blood Red Skies, my pilot skill is 5. A +1 mod doesn't hurt me as a pilot skill 5 the way it hurts a pilot skill 2. The point is we're trying to even the odds. The odds are affecting you, evenly percentage-wise, but not for your percentage to hit. So it's kind of confusing. So what that means is you take a die threshold as a pilot skill 5 in here, you lose more percentage, but it's the same odds chance of hitting that you have. So correct. Percentage does. And so it's a little counterintuitive for people who be like, but why shouldn't my good pilot, have a better chance? Because I did something that wasn't skill-based. It's the laws of physics. I was defensive as that MiG, so when I broke into you, it didn't matter how good of a pilot you were shooting at me. The laws of physics said your bullets are going that way, my airplane's over here. So that's why we do that. So now, if there is anyone in an activation that feels, I probably have nothing to do, you can say at the end of it that you're engaged defensive. We'll take one of the black tokens and put it on your base, and that will provide a threshold shift to whoever shoots at you. And that goes to your next activation. So none. So you just are giving up your activation to do that. So you can't, you obviously only get, or not activation, your action. You only get one action. So you can't take a snapshot and then make yourself defensive. Yeah, exactly. Penalties, you didn't do anything that round. All right. Last one, red.
8, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right. Sounds good. Okay.
And while I'm at range 3, I do not have the proper aspect for my missile.
No, you don't.
Can't reach quite that far.
So, and here's something that's not in what we do in the basic game. We have target fixation. So everyone hates Blood Red Skies when you end up in this ball of airplanes because everybody's at that minimum range of their gun trying to shoot people. So a situation like this where you're now an adjacent hex, you are target fixated. So it gives you negative skill modifiers to anything you're trying to do other than shooting Edgar. So we don't play with that in the basic game. That's an advanced game ism, but it keeps people from. Yeah, well, no, unless we. No,
I don't know if you want to make
no, go ahead.
a thing that is like immediately apparent from just this exchange
Mhm.
is that a random bag radically changed not radically, but like it definitely changed the ability that I would have.
Yes. Yes.
Or alternatively, how you put it, like if I had to go forward first, I would have to break out of the game basically, avoid being immediately shot.
Yeah. So you didn't overshoot him. Yeah.
And this is sort of strange because it's kind of random whether or not that happens.
Keep going. I'm looking for my other set of dice. Yes. So here's where it gets fun. Hand me that slick of dice right next to you underneath the.
Do it that way.
Not it's for this game. Just to constantly keep everything changing up and to put everybody in bad situations. So let's take this opportunity to show how initiative normally works in the game. I hope people like pushing their luck because that's how this works. So, okay, we'll use red and blue. Red will obviously be red side, blue for blue side. I'm going to assume amongst the 3 aircraft that we have 2 wingmen who have an SA of 1 and 1 normal flight lead with an SA of 2. Because I want to show a slightly different example for the Israelis, they're going to have 2 generic wingmen, each with an SA of 1. But they've got a guy who's a veteran of the 1967 war. He's got 3 SA situational awareness. So the way it would work normally is these are all of the activations we can have. We can act as a formation if we're actually close together and headed in the same direction. Obviously, at this point in the dogfight, none of us are. But if it was the initial activation or the initial turns, you could say, I only really need 1 activation. I'm going to move all of my guys together. So what do I do with the rest of the dice in the bag? Oh, hold on. All right. So alternating with the highest SA first on the first turn, we would make a bid. And we'd say, how many dice do we want to pull? Are we feeling aggressive? Are we feeling cautious? And we might say, I'm going to make a bid of 2. And so I'm going to reach in, I'm going to pull out 2 dice. And of course, the worst case happens. We literally, even though we had high SA, we must have been super aggressive and not paid attention to something, and they immediately get 2 activations. But maybe they're on the opposite side of the board, and they're just going to drive at us. So Edgar goes, you know what? I'm the flight lead. I only need 1 activation to drag all my wingmen along with me. I'm going to hold on to that to react. And so you now have a reactive die. But guess what? We did our bid. He makes his bid. And you might go, I don't need an ASA, brother. I've taken the charge of this fight. You might bid 1. And you pulled a red. So then that would be one of these where you go, do I need to move any? I've already moved all my guys. It goes into my pool. And this is hilarious. It's always turning out to be the worst case where all I pull are red dice. And then we might say, well, now it's back to us. We need to be super aggressive that we're willing to give up. And we know that 3 of his dice have come out, so there's only 1 more. So we're going to call for 3. And we still got the 4th red die there. So bad luck on us. But we've got 2 dice. So maybe we split our flight immediately, and I go one way, and you 2 wingmen go the other way, and you can do your activations that way with then the ability to preempt things. So if you still either had aircraft that hadn't moved, or you had like radar-guided missiles, things like that, where you'd taken a radar lock, now you can expend that as an activation. And you can say, okay, you guys were over here futzing around, not necessarily on the top of your game, even though we were the high SA side, we had better true situational awareness. We're reacting to you. I'm going to shoot a radar missile out of turn. And so that's how the full initiative system works. There's still a lot we're working through for reactions in there because we want to be able to say, where are those friction points in aerial combat of situational awareness where having the high SA allowed us to do something that didn't make sense. It allowed us to ignore the fighters and go straight for the bombers, or it allowed us to pick out the right target to hit and to avoid the SAMs and AAA on the way and to hit the right target. So that's one of the things we're really...
Like a complete move.
You would not be able to do a second complete move. That's the only thing you wouldn't be able to do. But there are various actions you can take as reactions that you could use. One of the ones we've also considered is allowing people to choose a defensive status as a reaction, where that if they have high SA and maybe they didn't really think about how fast we're flying into the game, but they have an SA reaction activation. If we suddenly get in range, then he immediately plays it and goes, I want my guys to be engaged defensive. And whoever's in that activation, that formation, is now defensive.
We consider that if I had taken a gunshot,
Mhm.
but we had a reaction dice left, and after I'd taken my gunshot, going, oh, and then just give me
I think there's situations where you could,
my shot.
and it's once again the complexity that you want to see in the game, because I don't want us to have to track, well, how many actions did I take, or what actions can I not take with other actions? I want it to be a fairly intuitive, back and forth of action, reaction, and that there's always a counter to everything. And I think that was always one of my hardest heartburns with Blood Red Skies, was that the great thing about a card mechanic is it's action, reaction. But people didn't always open that up to, there's a lot of things in air combat that they're turning on me. That's an action reaction. I can break into them. I could extend and let my wingman engage. There's all kinds of combinations.
Because this is simulating a real-time simultaneous event in segments.
Mm-hmm.
Another option could also be, I've already moved, but we have a reaction die, and you do this right across. I
Yeah,
one
take it
snapshot.
exactly. That's another good one. So that's the ability to do. I think if you categorize like snapshots and engage defensive as things you do as reactions, someone's gonna, if they are dumb enough to fly in front of you, why would I not take a snapshot at them? So those are the kind of things you could husband those dice for.
And that would be also situationally aware that all of a sudden I see breaking. Oh,
Well, and I use the example of in a 2-seat cockpit, there were numerous times that we're in a dogfight. My pilot is looking at one aircraft. He doesn't realize that the wingman is crossing his nose. And so I would say something as simple as, bandit, your nose, 1 mile. And he'd look up, select aim 9 and pull the trigger because the guy was right there flying in front of him. And so there's a lot of reactive things I want to make sure we incorporate in the game. It's trying to make them all make sense. You know, I think that's the tough part. But I do like the ability to do snapshot as a reactive activation. But anyway, so yeah, we are absolutely doing the bag pull to dump everyone on their head. Yeah, no, exactly. All right, let me get rid of these. Oh, thank you. All right, so let me put those back in there. That should be 6, the correct 6. Questions so far, or other comments? Spears, Edgar. Other things. Is the movement at least somewhat intuitive for this piece? Okay. Do you want me to show you how to add vertical at this point? Like, literally, we'll put pucks underneath ourselves. We'll move ourselves up to altitude 2. And then in this dogfight, so we don't have to reset and go through turns of flying at each other, we can start doing vertical maneuvers. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everyone to altitude 3. So put the green pucks underneath them. Yep. There should be some over there. Yep. Okay, vertical maneuvers. I don't care what they say in Aeronautica Imperialis. Nobody gently climbs or gently dives in combat. So everything you're going to do is a combat maneuver in this game. I love AI, by the way, and I was laughing at your shirt. I'm like, so one of our AI players, anytime I, as the GM, absolutely smash her airplane, she looks at me and goes, Emperor protects. I'm like, yeah, you're still dead. Your airplane is still shot down, Miriam. So if you're listening, Miriam, yes, we're watching you. Okay, so all of your vertical maneuvers are going to be combat vertical maneuvers. What does that mean? You're not just going to gain altitude. Whenever you gain altitude, you do it to reposition the nose of your aircraft because you're either somebody's a threat and you want to defend against them, or there's an opportunity to take a shot. So vertical maneuvers are I will say they're very straightforward because you really get to do what you want. But remember, it takes up your entire move. For 15 seconds, you are either going nose high or nose low and repositioning your aircraft. If you look at the example down here, you have to move forward your turn factor. And let me throw a die out to mark where my guy is. Actually, let me use another guy. Toss me 2 green. Or 2. Yep, thanks. Give me the whole stack. That'll work. Okay, so let's talk about how vertical maneuver works. So for where I am, I would have to move forward 2 hexes. And then I basically pivot to face any direction I want. And you're like, really? Yes, really. That's how it works in a modern jet aircraft. I realize most games don't work that way. But as you go up, you can roll 360 degrees and decide which hex side you want. And it might be, I want to go forward, go up, and go the same direction I was going. I just need to change altitude. So if you think about a gentle climbing turn you might do in other games, that's the kind of vertical maneuver where you move forward your turn mode, and then you end up moving, facing forward the same direction you were going, but 1 altitude higher. What are you really doing? You're doing a combat maneuver to get there, but it's a very administrative in the same direction. When you go up, unfortunately, that costs you 4 drag. So almost no airplane in this game until we get to the F-16 is going to start going up and not lose speed. Just going to be the realities of it. Now, the other part of that is if you want to lose speed, remember, you don't have to use your thrust. You could use a vertical maneuver to get rid of speed. And so it's a very effective way, especially as an F4 that sometimes shows up into the battle wanting to burn a lot of speed. A vertical maneuver is a great way to go from speed 10 down to like speed 6 or something, and something that's much more manageable. Or modulate your thrust and end up back to speed 8. But you could also, if you wanted to, you could pick any other heading. You could fully reverse. You could do a partial turn. You could do whatever. So that was, once again, for a vertical maneuver, move forward your turn mode, and then pick your heading. Now, if you wanted to go down, same kind of thing. You're going to, go, once again, do that. Going to pick whatever direction you want to go. And now you add 2 thrust tokens. This is where be careful. So we don't have overspeed rules because we're supersonic aircraft. So we all could, theoretically, we have maximum speeds that we're not going to crunch the numbers of here. We can afford to go faster than speed 11. But if you see where you are at speed 11, your turn mode there is going to suck. So congratulations. If you're any one of these aircraft, it's going to be hard to slow down, going downhill and not using, oh, by the way, what do you have? Drag. So you can use your drag to put, at least in my case, one drag token out. 2 speed tokens I would gain. I would only gain 1 speed going downhill, losing an altitude. Okay, does that make sense for vertical maneuvers? Cool. Okay. Let's not worry about unloading and extending. You guys have proven that you're perfectly happy to stick your 6 o'clock at somebody and run away, so that's fine. But if you did want to do that for a full move, you could immediately gain thrust. I'm not sure. I haven't figured out if there's other negative cons I'm going to add to that. There has to be some other disadvantages, but we've managed to prove that people have used their thrust to be able to get their speed back. All it really does is instantaneously add to your speed if you want to move further. It's kind of like a dive in Blood Red Skies.
Might be a little hotter.
Yeah. Well, so there's a great grognard moment there as you dig into air combat and think about people running away from air combat and what the seeker heads see. And it was one of the, just an interesting piece I'll share with people. There was a lot of problems that when they were directly tail on, that was fine. They were super hot. The guy's an afterburner. I shoot the infrared missile. The problem was for the early missiles, if there's the slightest bit of aspect, and on the old aircraft, that afterburner plume could be giant. So they would shoot at a MiG-17 and wonder why they missed this guy an afterburner. Because his afterburner plume's, half the size of his aircraft, and the missile is guiding on that. It's the hottest source. So yeah, there's all kinds of fun things we could do with that. All right, we've all got altitude as part of our move this turn. Let's see who goes first. Orange. Hello, Edgar. Should have made you all put the die on the bottom of your airplane. Keep track of it. Yeah, exactly. Now I got to make everyone have dice so they know what they have. I can throw it on yours.
All right. Yeah, no thrust. 1, 2, 3, turn. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep, and 2 drag, then drops you to her. Yep.
Then I'm guessing. No, actually, I should probably go guns, right?
Yes, yeah, you're gun range.
Can't go missile.
I can't miss.
Sorry, the D10s are all the way over there. Yeah.
All right, so.
So you're pot skill 3, and so so you're going to lose. Yeah, you're going to go down to 1.
So was this at 3?
Yeah, it was at 3. Yep.
And I'm going to go to 1.
To 1 because it takes. When you do a tracking shot, now you can always choose to shoot less. I have not come up with any difference other than the dice you roll. So here's what I screwed up with you. When you took your tracking shot, you're supposed to roll 2 dice. So for each bit of yeah. Okay, so you would have hit. So we'll just put a 1 damage marker on you, which is fine. But roll 2 dice because it's a tracking shot, or you can only if you wanted to conserve ammo. Okay, so whole lot of nothing. Oh, so I don't have my boom chits out, but I'll just throw a red mark. Put a red marker on it. Well, I don't want to confuse your. Here's my tokens. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, we got purple markers since we're not using fuel.
I want purple markers, but I don't want a purple.
You're holding up, keep it on.
Yeah, just put it on your airplane. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you see on the card, like the spots for air-to-ground loadout, all those kind of things. We're going to work through that later. But the intent is, yes, your aircraft is going to perform different if you load it up with all your bombs and you come into the merge and try to put on a 6G turn. We'll see how that works out for you. But we haven't crunched those numbers yet. All right. Next initiative draw. Yellow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Then that's it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So just put a black token on your airplane. You're defensive. And that'll go all the way till your next activation. So you'll take it off when you activate next. 4. Yep. Okay. Blue. All right. I am at 7.
No, we generated 4.
All right. I'm going to go 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That was it.
It's a vertical maneuver takes your
7.
whole turn.
And that was
Forward, your turn back.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 turns. And I guess I'll finish with that 4th turn because I moved 2. So I'll take 1 more speed hit down to there. So it's you move your turn mode, whatever that is, that speed. You move that forward, and then it's always going to take you, regardless, it's going to take you 4 drag. So, oh,
Trying to figure out if my speed was this.
oh yeah.
How is my speed? Your turn is 2. Yeah. Okay. So I move 2.
Move 2,
And then I climb.
then you climb, and that's it.
The rest of the speed.
It's in here. It's in.
All in the
It's all in the vertical.
Got it.
So it sounds like I have a lot of baggage against check your 6. Oh wait, yes I do. But one of the toughest things is simulating how much time it takes an aircraft to move in the vertical. And we tend to think about, in a lot of games, you move forward, half your move, turn around, move back, half your move. Well, what about all this stuff? There's a lot of turn radius that is burned in that piece. And so what I opted to do is just make you move forward, make you overshoot, make you go in a direction, and then you can face any way you want, but you've committed I've got to go downrange as I'm making this turn.
Equivalent to the amount of load you got on your aircraft.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
far you're going down range.
Exactly. Because once again, it's the whole point of I wanted turn radius to mean something. So whatever your turn radius is, I got to move that factor downrange, and then I can turn. Okay. Pink.
Well, if you did, I thought I had a high speed yo-yo to drop right behind him. Turns, but not
Math right. Drag so far. Report drag. Drop speed.
Birdie.
Well, you know.
Do they do this?
No. No.
That was good.
Well, let's get his loose.
You entirely. All right. Well,
You're going back to Neva team, and we're retraining you.
yeah, this is not good.
So, I was about to say, you probably have what, one more, or you got 2? One more. Nice. Okay. Outstanding. Well, at least you scared him a lot. Red.
That's like the ammo powder around.
Yes.
You
Yes.
spend all of them
No.
do if you can do all if you're going at
A snapshot. I mean, in the real world, you can pull the trigger for 6 seconds on the M61A1. Yes, it is in fact possible. You will still not hit anything. There is possible and there is plausible.
what?
Don't move.
Yeah. I say, you can keep moving me.
I'm like, I'm maneuvering.
Any advantage or disadvantage in the shooting.
No.
You can't do it because
You're right.
using it just to reposition.
Correct. Correct. So at some point you have to burn it off. And that's going to cause you to gain speed or thrust, really, in that sense.
So you can pull another aircraft at the same level.
4 guns and dogfight missiles. Now, when we get to radar missiles. And there may be, something that's important to bring up for people listening on the stream is I don't want to do this graded table of if they're 4 hexes downrange, they must be within 1 altitude. I don't want to do that, but that's how other games have solved that, using a dogfight missile against someone who's an altitude block up. Because they could be within the range of the missile. But I don't like cross-range travel things.
I can change altitude during a normal. I have to.
Correct. You have to do a vertical move. Yes.
I can't like die.
Nope, you can't. Because the point is what we're trying to simulate is big altitude block changes. As we're flying these things, real world, people are going up several thousand feet of altitude, but by doing that, you're going up 7,000 to 8,000 feet of altitude.
So high up.
Right, right. Which I always use the example, and it's kind of like the thing to do next turn. You're like, yeah, that's great. I'll move forward 2, and then I can pick to turn that way and drop an altitude block. And so now I've made, in a sense, a big sweeping turn, but I've made it for 8,000, 10,000 feet of altitude.
All right. I'm going to 4.
Yep.
And 8 altitude.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So let's see. Let me throw a blue block underneath him. Yep.
And he also could have gone down there and the same thing.
Correct. Right. Right. Yep. Okay. That would be you. Yeah. All right. Last ones. All right.
Doug, question about that. He would have gone down.
Yep.
Could he have taken drag and not gained?
Correct. Yes. So that's basically you putting your speed brakes out, rolling over on your back, doing the split S maneuver. But because the speed brakes are out, I'm trying to manage how much. Yeah. There you go. Wow. A pilot understands this. I feel like we've had a moment there, Wizzo to pilot. I would take you as my pilot any day, Steve. Just not in a fighter jet. Yellow.
I'd take you in a Viper, but it's too much weight.
No, my ego won't fit in the cockpit. Sorry, it's not even a weight thing. Welcome to the Lead Pursuit podcast.
That's like
applies too much drag.
Yep, it does. It does.
all the usable fuel that we can take to a dog.
It's like Scott Atchison reminding me that I'm 700 pounds of gas. So this is a good example of what not to do.
That should have come off.
Oh yeah, yeah, correct. Because but now you can put it back on because you want to stay defensive. So if we think about this in game terms, how I explain it to people, he is maneuvering to try to gain advantage and get down there and get into the fight, but he's also looking at all the way around, making sure there's nobody joining up on him. So if somebody, let's say I did some weird S turn and came out and shot at him, he sees me coming up at him, even though he's looking at the fight, he's like, okay, I'm going to break back into Doug's aircraft, and defend against whatever he's going to try to do. Okay. So here's one of the questions people always ask me. Can we shoot through friendlies? No. Now, each aerial war game uses different scale. When we're thinking about 1,500 feet, we've got within basically a 3,000 foot bubble, half a mile, we have 3 aircraft in that fight all trying to shoot each other. Think about me as the F4. If I'm going to try to stick my nose in there and take a shot, that's not a good thing. That's not going to happen. A lot of times in the game, we have things like that happen. Our ruling has been you don't get to shoot through friendlies. So I can't just ignore, the pink aircraft there in front of me. I can't shoot through and shoot at red. So let's see here. I'm going to go, oops, didn't set my thrust. I'm going to go 3. 1, 2, 1. Two, 3, 2. Okay. Stay at my speed. Purple.
Okay. I'll drop one out to the game for us, right?
Correct. Correct.
If I put out one,
You would only gain 1 then. Yep.
okay. Funny. Push me forward 2.
Yep.
Drop one out.
Yeah. I mean,
Thrust, right?
20 bucks each. Yeah. So you just gain 1. Yep.
And now I'm gonna
Yep. And you've got a nose to nose shot. So Edgar is going to get shoot back. So if it's end of turn 1, you get 2 dice. If you want to use 2 ammo, I would assume you do. Yep. Okay. So the 2 does hit. So that's your second hit, Edgar.
Yep.
You're done. And you do your shoot back. Yep. Single die because it is a snapshot for you. Yeah. So for the podcast, I would like to show Don Ayers that somebody died in this game, unlike Blood Red Skies. We actually had an airplane get shot down. All right. Next die, red. And I can pull Edgar's dice out. Sorry, Edgar. We'll get you back in.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. All right, maybe crazy, but we're gonna try. My sweet spot, moving 7. 1, 2, 3. Turn, normal drag. 4. No, yeah, 4. Normal turn. 5.
Corner turn. Yep, so that's going to do 2. Yep.
6.
Yeah.
7.
Yes.
I am sprinting through my
Yep.
flight suit. Yeah, flight suit. Actually losing.
Yeah. But you're still in the corner band.
But I'm going to try to get the shot off.
Okay. So 2 defense. Give me 30 seconds to roll. Yeah, I will. Yeah, you can do that. I need my tablet back. Hold on, let me grab the tablet. I get around you. Mm-hmm.
5, more drag, turn. That's the 5 point.
So you're going that way? Yeah. So you're doing, yep. And so it's going to drop you.
Then
You're,
drop my-
that
no,
eats
I
an
do
extra move.
5.
Yeah.
No, I do.
Yep.
So this is considered a turn for the purpose of turn count, correct? Like,
So yes, that is it, because you have to have moved equal to your turn factor to get there, and it resets your turn factor.
So this resets the turn factor, so I have to get. So we're gonna do what I wanted to have. I want to make. This is
Yep.
a learning game. I want to make sure.
Do I ever run anything? It's not a learning game.
Well, so I think instead of that, I'm just gonna go.
Steve, my God, the stands are falling apart.
I'll figure
Yeah, we'll get it in there. No, so
Somebody should invent something that you put on 2 things and it sticks them together.
if only they were magnetic. It's weird. So,
Fluid or like some kind of
it's good.
All right.
Maybe
I will.
Maybe out of horses. That's exactly what I was
Yeah, there
thinking.
you go.
So this was the funniest moment. I have to share this because Steve's going to be absolutely professionally embarrassed. Steve takes such great care cutting acrylic stuff for me and does such great work. And he cuts a whole bunch of stands. I end up with a ton of these stands, and I'm like, bro, they aren't working. He's like, yeah, you should be able to just take the plugs out and fit them all together. I'm like, some of them aren't fitting, bro. He's like, dude, I don't know what you're doing wrong. I pull out 2 of them, and they're 2 different thicknesses of acrylic. And I take the photo and I send it to him. I'm like, what have you done to me, dude? I have no way to figure out which thickness of acrylic goes with which stand. And he's like, no, man, they're all from the same order.
They're nominally 8-inch acrylic.
But they are not the same thickness. So I was like, dude, and they're breaking stands, breaking on acrylic from Pennsylvania. All right. So did everyone move? Okay. Good. Just want to make sure we all did. Yeah, over here. All right, Edgar, bring yourself back in from the corner over there. At altitude 2. I can. It's super easy.
Am I interrupting the game?
No.
Like,
So here you go.
I'm in trouble. 3 packs.
How much are they?
They're all in here. It's all 20. You just tick, 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 and there's the card reader right over there.
Well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Thursday. Yeah. Edgar's like, wait, I don't have an activation die. What's going on here? Yeah. I think you guys can run it yourselves for a moment. Cheating now. So remember, pull your defensive. Yes, yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah. So while he's thinking about that, this is one of the points I do want to happen to players. I want there to be a time in the first game you're playing with a type of aircraft that you don't understand how it performs. And you're going to be like, I can do that because, no, I don't have bags. And there's a moment where you think you're like, oh yeah, I could have done that either last turn or in the last airplane I flew. And then you suddenly realize my airplane performs differently. And it's the same kind of thing with the MiG and the stall. I want someone to the first time they fly a MiG-21, go, oh, this is great. I can do 3-corner maneuvers. And then they're flying speed 2, so that there's going to be a little bit of a learning process that's not necessarily impossible for the aircraft. But if you misapply what you've learned with other airplanes.
The first word that my fellow co-pilot here, pulled with yellow pulled and the tighter turns. I thought he still had 1 corner maneuver.
Oh yeah.
He could have snapped around and got a shot, kind of like what I did earlier. But it would have bled more speed possibly than wanted to. How aggressive do you want to be?
Yeah, exactly.
This is a challenge to figure out how well the system is working for the average player. So they'll fly a little.
Edgar never gets to be called the average player. So, all right, purple. Oh, yeah.
Right. 20 gauge false altitude, correct?
Correct. Everyone's got to be the same altitude to shoot each other, at least with these weapons. And you probably heard me telling Steve, a lot of other games have the cross-track vertical. You know, if he's 4 hexes away from you, you can shoot 1 altitude up or down. Maybe we'll get there. I don't like that. I feel like that's a level of complexity that's...
Guns have a range of 2 hexes horizontal.
Yeah.
You're clearly going to have 1 hex vertically
Yeah.
at that scale.
And for a missile, to be honest, with a radar missile, it's great because that's easy to say. I can shoot other altitudes. But you think about like a dogfight missile. I am now in that F4. I'm pointing my nose at someone 5,000 feet above me trying to take this shot. That's a significant, altitude change they're making.
And in this era, again, looking at an iron cone that's fairly
Yeah.
narrow, and if you use more level, you're really
Yeah.
cone,
Yep.
geometry.
Yeah, so, and I don't know if you ever played air superiority. It takes all that into account, and you're just like, that hurts my head. I can't do that. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Air superiority is easy compared to air war. I know. So the funny thing is, Pat Doyle always teases me. He's like, man, I could teach you air superiority in an afternoon. I'm like, I'm sure you could, but I would not retain it. Yeah, the whole afternoon. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
At our time scales, we've already aged
It's probably been about
5 seconds, 90 seconds.
it's probably been 90 seconds to almost 2 minutes of dogfighting. Yeah. So here's the other piece people have asked. People have then asked the fuel question. How are you going to implement fuel? And I tell them, I don't know because I haven't found a single game I like how they implement fuel. And it's always kind of this weird balance between a fixed number that you got so many turns to do something or a variable thing where you're doing math where I'm like, okay, I've got a fuel tank, but my fuel rating is this. And
Where's the engagement?
Yeah.
Is it close to our base? Is it close to your base?
exactly.
Or is it dead center between
Yeah.
the two?
So to me, there's always so many variables that my perception is a lot of games do that effectively by saying the game goes 8 turns or the game goes 7 turns. And you put a defining line out there that says, okay, everyone's going to assume we're going to disengage for gas after a certain number of turns, whatever that is. And then if people have fuel tanks on the aircraft that they haven't jettisoned, if they did keep them, then you can say, okay, we can take the game a certain number of other turns. But I think it's generally
You're not factoring afterburners, taking afterburners away.
right.
So,
All right, blue. What am I going to do is blue. All right, 3. Yeah, I'm going to do 3 thrust. Yep, throw my 3 thrust out there. And I am at 2 at 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can actually turn, because it's one more time, so it's 2. Doug gets to take a snapshot. Excuse me. 1.
I need a purple.
1 purple cube. And I go down to 5. Okay. I rolled a 1. The cheater dice, Orange.
I mean, that's the thing that I roll.
Yeah. Yes, you. There's always one more MiG. There's always one more MiG.
Seeing those lovely F-14. But when are we going to make MiG-28s?
We already have them. He's got F5 STLs. There's an argument about printing them. I love the F5 with wingtip rails. Because to me, an F5 without wingtip rails is a T38, and that's a trainer. But I love it with wingtip rails. Chris, my guy that prints them for me, hates printing wingtip rails and pylons and all those things that always break whenever you're taking, the supports off of. Yeah, and he's like, dude, don't make me print anything with rails. I'm like, the only F5 I want printed has rails, so we'll start printing. I have them in the store. I just didn't bring any with me. So, all right. Yes, pink. No, full thrust is fleet battle game.
I thought it's a squadron level though.
Yeah, I consider it fleet.
Everybody can run 2 or 3 ships.
Yeah, you can run a bunch of ships in full thrust. It's, it kind of defines how you, but that's. That,
Never mind.
yeah, I've run full thrust as massive battles with it, but I've also, like you said, I've seen them as a squadron where it's like you run it as 4 ships. Oh, geez, what are we doing? And then that should be red. Did I forget to gain 1 speed because I'm just looking at that? I think I did. Sorry. I got so excited to take the shot. I forgot to gain my speed back. Okay. Questions thus far? Thoughts, concerns, gripes? All right. We're going to play one more turn. Yellow.
You first shot.
It's like I didn't want to go first. And we can keep playing more turns. I was just going to try to play it to a logical point of conclusion. We can keep going until Edgar gets revenge. Yeah. Did I say that? I didn't say that. Hey, man, somebody has to make all the kill marks on the side of my airplane. Yeah, Edgar got shot down earlier. And while I'm thinking about it, before I forget swag, Edgar, here you guys go.
Oh, thank you.
So don't forget to pass all that out. Yep.
Oh, we're drinking tonight. That's what it was for. You got metal on yours too.
All right, purple. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, go ahead, marker. Yeah, exactly. Just slightly outraged.
All right. I'm gonna hear your question.
Yep.
All right. I think I'm really close to getting
Yep. Now you could do a yo-yo, followed by an immediate shot, or you could then move 1 closer and take a shot. But oh yeah.
You want me to show you how to shoot that?
He's like, I've already plotted it out.
It's like right there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, do the S turn and end up right in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah.
You might as well. Just pick whatever. Just remember, pick however much thrust you need. Yep.
Yep, correct. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, the black.
And yeah, you go two. Yeah, you go two back. Yeah, sorry.
1, 2. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Edgar's like, really? Why is everyone bagging on me? Yeah.
3 and a 9.
Okay, so you take 1 damage. Edgar's like, son of a. I just respawned, dude. Spawn campers. Oh.
Just clean the blood on the last
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh. All right, so let's do this the right way. I'm going to go to 3 thrust. I'm going to get my dice. Okay, so my activation is going to be 1, 2, and a head-to-head shot. And so you get to shoot back. I missed. And I should have rolled D12 anyway, because I kept forgetting you're defensive. All right, you missed it. So it was 1, 2. Then I'm going to go. Yep, cost 1. Yeah, nope. All right, so I made 1 turn there.
You get to shoot back while the fence.
All right, so 1, 2, turn.
Throwing the X bottle of vodka.
Yes. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. I threw it. I'm going to reverse my turn back that way. 3. So I should keep my speed. Yeah. All right. Orange. Orange.
I can take a shot on it for you.
Yeah. It's like, I already cracked the code. I already figured it.
Remember where you are on the flight.
Yep. Then 2 facings back the other way. Yep. Well, so yeah, you would have burned a movement and 2 drag on that last one. So it'd only be 2 drag that he would take. Yeah. So that straightforward wouldn't cost him more. So you'd only have 4 drag total. Yeah.
You're looking for the shot. You could have gone 1, tight turn because you're in the envelope. 2, tight turn in the envelope, take the snapshot. 3, 4, 5. Don't end up with.
He's actually below. He's right below corner.
He wasn't.
Oh, it's right. You were at 6. You're at 5. Yeah.
In the flight.
Yeah. You could have done that. You could have done all those corner moves. Sorry, I was looking where he was.
Speeding off.
Well, so that's the problem is if you do that, you're bleeding 4, so you got to definitely be up 3 for your thrust. Yeah.
Firewall.
Otherwise, you end up in the stall band, and we know how that works out.
Yeah, I'm noted the fact that I realized I missed a shot
Pink.
at least one of mine that I could have done that. Because I was trying, I'm going to end up one too many hexes. Oh, if I don't, just fly through and take a shot in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I only got one trigger full round.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so roll 2 dice and 2 d12s, 2 d12s because he's defensive.
Okay.
But hey, now all your rounds are gone. We're good. Winchester, we can go home.
I can't say that I didn't try.
Yeah. All right, Red. Finish us off. Put me out of my misery.
I had this perfect. I thought I was a 5.
Except for he was just going to do this min radius turn and shoot me in the face. That's what I was expecting.
Three, 4,
Yep.
5, 6.
Yeah, we got everyone's favorite comp.
Yep. Single gun, so it's not. No! Click afterwards. But I am pointing the way that the base was.
Yeah, exactly. You're literally. All right. Any questions on where we've been through this whole thing? Comments otherwise? Yeah.
Just a couple of like easy explanation comments.
Yeah.
Take my point here for the
Or if you want to, here's another airplane. Yeah. Yep.
So the way to explain the yo-yo is that it's this as a term,
Yes.
right? Because I think it's very confusing when you tell people all of this, right? Because like you say you have to turn out and then turn in, right? But that's all really one.
It's all one maneuver. Yeah.
Right. You say, okay, you have 2 yo-yo options. You can side slip, or you can side slip and then turn.
I feel like if I drew it as a continuous arrow, it would be easier to understand on there.
Understand that this is all one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that like it's also very similar to the other yo-yo because you either do an inside yo-yo, which is a side slip no turn, or you do an outside yo-yo, which is a side slip with a turn.
Right.
Right. And all you then say is, okay, the side slip with a turn
Takes an extra move. You burn.
burn one extra move and one extra.
And gain one extra drag.
Extra drag.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right. So
Okay, that's a good point.
Makes it a lot easier to conceptualize what's going on.
Right.
Right. And it also means that it's a lot clearer that now, okay, it's as if I did a turn. Now I need to go forward and do another turn or however.
Well, so that's one of the questions I have is what is that magical rules wording to say that your turn mode is reset? And that's the only thing I can think of how to say that in something that doesn't sound so wordy.
Or turn counter is reset. That maneuver is turning.
Yo-yoing, yeah.
Outside or whatever.
Yeah.
The big maneuvers, right? So anytime you turn
or yo-yo, you reset your. Okay, that's a way to explain it. Exactly, it resets it. Yeah, you have to go to that. Yeah, just say other than going dead straight, it resets. Yeah.
That's your keyword. Turn.
Turn. Yeah.
And you just make the note that maneuver also.
Yeah.
Resets.
Maneuver resets. Maneuvers are a full turn of doing something. Turns are things you do as part of your movement.
Yeah.
And that's one of the wordsmith things that we've run into. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, good point. Good point. That will. Yeah. Yeah.
So the next question.
Yeah, there's plenty of things like that. I'm like, what word am I supposed to use? Because we use it for two different things. Round. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thought that I am sorry, I cannot for the life of me remember which I saw. In which your pilot has a certain number of situational
Mm-hmm.
points that they essentially point to another airplane. In other words, your pilot is able to track some number of airplanes. I don't know if this fits into your idea of how one approaches the situational awareness, but a thought occurs to me that given that one of the things you're like this banking of situational awareness for the purpose of reacting and gaining benefits seems to be a core component of the game,
Right.
right? Because that's sort of how you're representing the fact that, like, you know, if you start in a good position, if you aren't on the situational awareness game, like you miss the opportunity.
You missed the bandit joining us from the other side of the board.
Alternatively, you know, even if I start, even if this is the situation at the start, let's say I'm at the right? Possible situational awareness wise, to miss the opportunity to get this guy in a prime position just because of like
Right.
That's kind of that I assume is what.
Well, the target to go down that one, the thing we didn't do, because obviously we're not playing with the normal SA mechanic, is target fixation. So all these times we keep rolling up behind somebody and shooting, the next turn your SA dice don't count for the guy. So his SA dice are out. So you end up in this situation where that's great. He was in the weapons employment envelope. Now all of a sudden your flight is doing something to get its SA back together, or he's continuing to attack. You know. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask about that.
Yep, sorry.
On the follow-up,
Yeah.
if you're saying an average wingman,
Yeah.
one SA die.
Yeah.
Okay, if they just have fired one way or another, their focus is narrowed. In the next turn, we just use that word again. We go back to the bag.
Yes.
If their die isn't going in, you have to almost pull one die and have to activate more than one aircraft.
Exactly. So here's where that becomes a rules conundrum. So the one that we proposed to that was when you end up in an SA deficit for whatever reason, where you literally have nobody in formation, you're all over the board, and you don't have a die per aircraft. So the proposal that I didn't like, because it forces us to kind of think ahead, is if you know that's happened, if like dice have been taken and pulled out because people are target fixated, then what they've said is whoever has that alternate activation has to pick one of those guys to go first. So it kind of forces them to take that gunshot and overshoot. I kind of regret. Yeah.
Target fixation.
Mm-hmm. Which I am not wedded to, by the way.
Right.
But
an alternative target fixation is you say, okay, I'm assigning my SA die.
Yeah. To sure.
Right. Because I'm shooting you, I have to assign my SA die to you.
Okay.
Right? This gets two things, right? One is a penalty. The
Yeah.
penalty is that I don't act if I'm a basic pilot of one die,
Yeah.
I don't act independently of this guy.
Right.
All I can do is react when he does something.
Right.
Right? Because I'm tail chasing
Yeah.
right now until I literally do nothing else and then stop tail chasing. Right? If I'm a better pilot, I'm going to have another reaction die that I put in.
Yeah.
This time, I can do whatever I want. I can pull my die back or whatever. What this also means is, because I'm in tail chase here, right, this guy's always going to go before me.
Correct.
Right?
I like that.
And if I want to, and I'm a better pilot, I can just say, oh, well, I'm just going to follow.
I'm going to use my activation,
right?
and I could.
Now my SA doesn't go away.
Right.
It's now focused on the person I'm targeting.
I do like that because it does a couple things. One, it is in a sense a tailing bonus. I do get to move after you. I've achieved myself in this, and if I haven't controlled my airspeed, I'm still screwed because throttle changes they take a full turn to take effect. So I could have gotten right in behind you, taking a tracking shot, and I'm at speed 10 and you're speed 4. Go ahead. I'm happy to move first because you're just going to flush out. You might take another snapshot at me, but you're going to flush out and go out in front of me. So I do like that, because that then, let's assume we have one SA die for all three of the, or in this case, we like two guys are shooting, so we'd have two SA dice. Let's use him as the example, the high SA guy out there. You know, we could then say, all right, I'm gonna just vote for one die. I get lucky. I pull that one. I could move you. You could break off your attack, and then I still have one other die that I can then use for something. Now the question comes into, there are permutations of that. You end up with somebody that has no SA dice because you've used all of your dice. I broke a guy out of the attack, and then I have an extra die, you know, for somebody and I have 2 aircraft to activate. And what do you do there? Well, I don't know. And that's where we're stuck in a kind of a rules do loop.
So here's what. Let's say that we're going to do something a little unfair.
Let's put everyone in the tail chase.
Have what I'd love to call the circular firing squad problem, right? Which is, let's say what happens if everybody is kind of like this, right? Yeah. And you know, and we're all in a big hexagon, we're all shooting each other. Yeah. And we're all
that's never happened in any game. Oh wait.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's say we're all tail chasing each other, right? At this point, no one has any SA dice,
right?
Because everybody is engaged to somebody, right? And at that point, you say, okay, I have to roll a die and say, where
do we start this?
Where does the conga line begin?
Yeah.
Right. And kind of have to roll a die, because otherwise, right? Every other point, this guy has free SA, so he is by default going to be the start of the conga line.
Right.
Right. You know, if these guys are better pilots, right, they have extra SA dice they can put in, because I think using this rule should not make them put all of the SA dice out, just the one.
Right.
Right. And if there's like 2 guys, right, they can put.
And I guess that would have, if we'd only had one guy shooting, we would have had 3 SA dice because we had 1 and 1. So we all could have independently activated. Now, if the same thing happens for them, where they had, you just had 3 dice, so then they end up in a situation like if one of their guys puts his SA die on us, then they have 3 airplanes to move. They can't break one out of the fight, which is kind of interesting.
So I'm target fixated on.
Yeah.
I'm reacting.
Right.
But my reaction does not have to be made.
Correct.
Right.
So when I don't, I'm no longer target fixated. So I'm going to break out of that cycle next turn.
Right.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I just move after because I fixated on two things, and I break, or I try to stay in.
Yeah. So once again, you're still going to have to wait to the end. Yeah.
Not engaged. I will get my guy back away from them.
That's right.
But if I decide to re-engage, continue the engagement, fire, try to work the next solution or whatever, then I'm still fixated.
Well, let me roll this one out here, because this is how I guess I'm seeing it. That's kind of causing me some consternation. So I'm chasing someone down. There's a lot of other people that are in and around, and
your fear is everybody is basically a rooster. It's one SA die.
So yeah, if we have that, or sorry, let me do blues. If we have blues and one guy is target fixated, now then in the pile, in the bag, is that.
Yep.
Right.
So if I draw 1, what you're saying is I don't use that die. Do I use this die? But I guess, how do I break off?
Here's how you break
off. Do I always have to move after him?
Let's make this very simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take those out so that.
Oh yeah, so don't confuse us. Yeah.
Okay. Let's make this very simple. These guys don't exist.
Right.
Right. Here's what happens. This guy generates 1 red SA.
Mm-hmm.
I pull it out of the bag. It's the only thing in the bag. He does whatever he does. Right.
Yep.
He could go all the way over here or something.
Yep. Yep.
Right. Now, because he just did things, I react to that by taking my turn.
Okay.
Right? So now, if I want to break off the engagement and go fly home, I can just do that.
Right.
Right? And now, start of next turn, these 2 go back in the bag, and now we're back to where we were.
But to do that, does it take a blue die?
No.
No.
You
use the blue die
Because my die was
the die
used
was used
after his
on
aircraft
this.
moved.
Yes.
Okay. So now then let's right,
next
but let's
thing you
think the opposite
Correct.
part of that.
Your
And
concern is with multiple engagements,
yep,
you're fixated here.
yep.
So,
I activate there.
and we have the 2 red die.
Yep.
And you use this one because you want to give him
Yeah,
situational
because I want to get out of that fight. Yeah.
I'm coming around.
Yep. So then somebody ends up with
going to have to react after that one, or he's got to go first.
So I think there's that as we step through that.
Right.
If I say, throw me that in the red die.
So
hold on, let me just try to walk through this. That if I do want to break this guy out, it's going to cost me a blue die. But that's fine, because as soon as whatever I do to defend out here, I've burned that die. I did lose a die here. These are the dice. I don't get that die back until you move. So there makes an interesting game there, because all of a sudden you guys bid, and let's say you pull, you bid 2 and you pull 2. Well, I definitely don't want to move that guy, because now you're going to release one of my dice and I'm going to move 2 aircraft. You end up in this interesting situation of, okay, maybe I do want to move this guy, and then it forces me with the last blue die that I have to go, well, who's gonna wait for that guy? I'll make it that guy. And this guy does his move, and then only after the next red dice come out and you move him does that free me an SA die. I just got to think of a clean way to say that, but I think that works because my situation where the flight has been tied to that engagement. That's not a bad.
The great concern with that is when you have a lot of inexperienced pilots.
Yes.
That'll happen because the experienced pilot can still have 2 SA. They've spent 1 stuck here.
Yeah.
Odds of you pulling a die is minimized.
Right.
But there still should generally be enough die in the pool to cover our team's aircraft.
Right.
But when you're all on inexperience, then you start running into the fact that too many people are fixated. If you try to break one away, you're basically screwing up your entire wing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that makes sense to me because you're a bunch of idiots
Yeah.
flying aircraft. You're fresh out of flight school.
Well,
you're just gonna file like a dog.
Which goes to the purpose of extra SA dice for more experienced pilots.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. We're going to shut down the stream here as they do their little brainstorming session. I hope you enjoyed that preview of Merged. At least got a little sample of the movement, of the shooting, of the altitude changing. We will be back with some more Merged tomorrow. Play through some stuff, see what we like, see what we might be able to work on a little bit. And we will be back with this again tomorrow. As always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, follow, all those kind of good things. And thanks a lot for watching.